Hello, I'm Janet Dodd and I'm Chief Strategy Officer at Identity. I've been in the events industry for over 30 years now, and I have certainly seen it evolve throughout those 30 years. Starting way back when, 30 years ago, it was a very male-dominated industry. And one of the challenges I faced was when I went to meetings, for example, and I was accompanied by a male colleague, the questions would always be addressed to the male colleague, even if I was the senior person in the room. One of the things that happened to me very early on in my career, and this has stuck with me, was the first time as a junior producer on site, and I looked at the lighting and I just thought, it's just not right. This needs to change. So I spoke to the crew and I said, please can you change the lighting? This is what I think it should be. And they said, no, absolutely, we cannot do that. And I was like, really? Because it's not right? And they said, no, sorry, we can't change it. It's impossible, we cannot do it. So I thought, okay, fair enough. Then the client walked in, a male client walked in, and he looked at the lighting and he said, this lighting's not right. It needs to change. And he gave them exactly the same brief that I'd given them 10 minutes before that. And they said, yeah, no problem, we'll do it straight away. And up they went, did the lighting change, and it took less than 10 minutes. I was just stood there a bit gobsmacked, to be honest. So after the client had gone, I went up to the crew and I said, what happened there? I asked for that to be changed and you said it couldn't be done. And they said, well, you know what, he's the client, he's paying the bill, and also he's a man. So I was really taken aback, as you can imagine, but it taught me a really valuable lesson, and that is to stick with your instincts. So if you look at something and you know it's not right, then persist, keep persisting until you know it is right. Women bring some really unique leadership skills such as empathy, collaboration and adaptability. And we all know in the events industry those are all really important skills, particularly the adaptability and flexibility thing. Projects evolve, and as they evolve, things change, and being able to adapt to those changes is really important. Events are no longer just about a nice stage set and about lighting or about sound. It's much more about the experience, the human experience and the narrative. And that's where women's leadership skills will really come into its own in terms of driving all of that forward. What is really important about building a diverse team is empowerment and trust. Those, to me, are the two most important things. The team need to know that they are trusted and that they're empowered to do the jobs that they are doing. And it's also important to let teams know that it's okay to make a mistake as long as you learn from that mistake. We're all human, we all make mistakes, but the most important thing is to make sure that you learn from those mistakes and grow and develop. And everyone is different and everyone deserves to be treated differently, and it's really important to remember that and make sure that we treat people the way they deserve to be treated. So every single woman I know has suffered from imposter syndrome, and I certainly have. And it can be debilitating for women, and it's so frustrating to see the talented women out there who are suffering from this imposter syndrome. I always say to people, just look at what you've achieved, look at where you've got to, look what you're doing. You wouldn't be in your position if you weren't really capable at doing what you're doing. You're excellent at what you do. We all have professional challenges, and on a daily basis, I do. And I always talk to my friends and my colleagues because quite often they've experienced a similar thing, or they just bring in a different perspective, and it just helps you see things differently. I'm really lucky because I am surrounded by so many inspirational women here at Identity. I've seen some of our team manage the most challenging projects in such challenging timeframes, and likewise for major tenders. And they've all led them calmly and very decisively and with great leadership, empathy, collaboration, adaptability, all the things that I talked about earlier on. And I'm in awe of that, and I have definitely taken that on board when I look at my leadership skills now. I think it'll be no surprise to you that the women I'm going to mention are all very well known women. So Michelle Obama, I think she's very inspirational. She has succeeded in a very male-dominated environment, and she supports some really excellent charities, and I think she'd be a fascinating woman to work with. There's also a lady called Malala. I've seen her speak many a time, and she is truly, truly inspirational. And she now supports a number of young girls' education charities. And again, she's a fascinating woman, truly courageous and very determined. And Melinda Gates, there's the Bill and Melinda Foundation. They do something called Reaching the Last Mile. It's something that we delivered at COP28. We delivered the Reaching the Last Mile event. It was fantastic and truly, truly inspiring to be involved in an event where you know it really, really is making a difference. And International Women's Day theme of Inspire Inclusion, well, it's all about breaking down those stereotypes and creating environments where all women are valued and respected. There are a lot of women in our industry now. It's great to see. As I mentioned earlier, when I first joined the industry, it was very male dominated, and it's great now to see that that balance has changed. Having said that, there's still not a lot of women in senior leadership positions, and that's really sad. Going back to the leadership skills that I talked about earlier, the empathy, the collaboration, it's all really important for this industry, and I really hope that in the next few years we start to see a lot more women in senior leadership positions. So I think it's really, really important that we continue with International Women's Day, and that women's voices are heard and women are respected and recognised for what they do.